And we come down to the bottom part of the card where our first deviltry marker comes out. And unrest in London again. What is going on here? It's just 3 times in a row. Man, something bad is going on in London. Hello and welcome to My Own Worst Enemy, where we are about to continue our playthrough of Cruel Necessity, the English Civil Wars, 1640 to 1653. Last time we actually played through just 2 cards because there was a lot of explaining of the mechanics in the game, and I'm going to not do that so much this time. I'm going to try not to do that so much this time. I'm just going to jump in and start playing. I don't know if I'm going to play the entire game. I think I said that before. I think what I might do, because I've got Midway Solitaire Deluxe, which I'm reading through right now. And I've actually played almost an entire game of that. And I really want to get that to the table because I have a lot to say about that, really. It is a game I had high hopes for, and I do want to get that to the table sooner rather than later. So I think I'm going to do a few more turns of this. I will not abandon this completely. If someone wants to see me play this to the end, I will be able to set it back up and continue on at some point. But I do want to get Midway Solitaire out and show you the playthrough of how that works so that you can actually get an idea whether you'd like to buy it for yourself or not. All right, that said, let's go ahead and jump in. Let's pull our next event card. And it looks it looks terrible. I see unrest in London. I see we're going to have our first tactical battle. I see religious unrest and Parliament dropping. So this is not a good way to start off this third event card here. Like I said before, I won't get into too much details. Let me hold this up. So you got the flavor text. And it's, so as I said, you've got a red pike unit and cannon unit, artillery over here. So when you get these two, you have a tactical battle. So that's the very first thing you do. So I'm just going to set the card down. Let's just put it here. And we will go right into our very first tactical battle. Now, the good thing about the tactical battle is the sequence of play for the tactical battle is printed on the battle display mat. And this is the battle display mat. So I will just step you through this and we will see how this plays out. It's fairly simple. It's not fairly simple. It is very simple. The entire game, actually, once you get the rules down, it's a very easy game to learn, easy rules, and very easy to follow through. First thing we do, it says designate which royal army in England this battle is against. And so you get to choose between the army of the West or the army of the North. And so I'm gonna choose the army of the North. We're gonna go after Eddard Stark. So, you know, Charles was beheaded, and I think Eddard Stark was beheaded, right? So let's pick the army of the North, which is in space 5. I'm just going to mark it with one of my little tokens. These do not come with the game. Again, these are my bling I like to add to my games when I'm playing. So we've selected the army of the North, and that will be affected by any outcome of this battle. All right, now it says I may commit, this is the second step, you may commit any available named units you desire to your side of the battle mat. So I can gain in this empty box, which tells you I have none, but I can gain named units, and it would be like Cromwell. But who's the other one? That's the Army of Scotland. That's not going to do me any good. Where did Cromwell go? He's up here somewhere. I'm probably looking right at him. I don't see him. Anyway, but you can get Cromwell, and I forget the other one. And so this is where we would add them to one of our flanks if we had one. Then we go to step 3, draw random units from each side of the pool. So this is where they tell you, the units are all face down in these 2 spaces, and you would mix them around and pull them. I don't like to do that because it's really hard to do on this display mat. So this is the monarchy forces in here. So I'm going to randomly draw them without seeing what they are and just populate down. So we'll do that for each side. Turn this away here so I can't see what's going on. Reach in and grab one and just start filling it out. And so that is first one is a strength 3. Second one is, oh my goodness, that is a named unit and it is a 5. King's Life Guards. Ugh. All right. And another 3. I'm not liking the way this battle is looking. It's interesting. I started watching Cromwell with Richard Harris and Alec Guinness, and it's a really good movie, actually. And the first battle was kind of a disaster in that movie, and Looks like this might be headed the same way already. There's a 1. There's 1, and then let's see what we get. I'm hoping for some high numbers here to counter these. All right, what do we got there? Well, we got an event. So when you draw one of these tokens that has an event written on it like that, we will have to draw a battle event card, and you could have multiple events. So let's see. There's a 3. I want to see some 5s and 4s. There's another 3. All right, and then our final one is a 3. Okay, well, we didn't do too bad. All right, and so we also at this point have to draw, and I did leave these, I didn't put these in the cup because there's only 4, so we just kind of mix these units around. And we draw one. Oh my God, it's a 5. Prince Rupert, and then we'll draw another one. And it's just a 2. Oh my goodness. All right. And then I have to draw for mine since I had no named units. And I don't know where those, oh, there they are. So this is what a named unit would look like. They're right in front of me. So it's Cromwell and Ironside. So these will come out through one of the cards, the event cards, I believe. And if I had those, and you can see they're 5 and 6, would have been nice. I could have played those instead of randomly picking from this pile. So let's see what we get. Let's just pick this one. That's a 4, so that's not too bad to counter Prince Rupert there. And a 3, so that's not bad either. And the game is designed, if you read the designer's notes, the game is designed such that most of these battles, most of the time, will result in a draw. So it's kind of going for a historical thing there. So that's interesting to note that. So first, so we did that. We did step 3, randomly pulled our units. Now it says for each event that appears on a unit, draw 1 tactical battle card. You must resolve all red title cards first. Afterward, you may resolve any of the green title cards you possess. Then if you wish to pay for it, you may commit your zeal. Okay, so remember I can pay now to have a +1 strength added to any of these units, but it would cost me 1 zeal to do so. So let's go ahead and pick the battle card. All right. And it's a red, so we have to play immediately. They only have 1 card anyway. So it says, let me hold this up so you can read it, and I'll read it at the same time if you can see that. Subtract 2 from the combat value of the strongest parliamentary musket and pike unit. If there's a tie for strongest, assign this penalty to a unit of your choice. Okay, so basically, I have to pick the strongest of my parliamentary musket and pike units. Now, the ones on the flanks, the very end, those are cavalry, so it doesn't apply to them. So we've got 3 3s here. So these are my strongest units. And I need to take 2 from one of these. If you look, the battlefield is divided up. You have your first battle will be conducted against these 2 cavalry units. Your second battle will be between these 2 other cavalry units. Then you'll go back up, and these 2 musket and pike units will fight these 2. And then for the 4th, these 2 musket and pike units will fight these 2. So I need to look at this and see which one I can afford to lose 2 strength points from. And honestly, it's none in this case. So it's going to have to be, I'm thinking it's going to have to be this 4th battle down here. I think I'm going to have to, because this one is 8 to my 5, and this is 4 to my 6. So this will kind of even up this battle. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take, let's put the battle card over here. I'm going to take this one and reduce it to, and I think there's modifiers here. Let's see, yeah. So I'm going to put a -2 strength modifier on that one. I'll just put it behind it so I can read it as I go through this. So there you go. There's our battle event card, which was not good. And then when you come down to the step number 5, which is to resolve each section in order, 1st through the 4th. And it's labeled here 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And that's the way you'll want to go through these. So you'll add a die roll. So we're going to take, where did our dice go? So we're going to roll dice, and we will whatever we get, and it's, again, this is the monarchy, and blue is the parliamentarians. We'll roll those dice and add whatever value we have in our groupings. So, for instance, if we were doing the third battle, it would be 8 for the monarchy, and they would get to add 3 to that if they had rolled a 3. And it's whoever scores the highest wins. And that's what they tell you here. If your side is higher by plus 2 points, so if we win by 2 points, we would move our units to the victory box. If we lose by more than 2 points, they would go into the defeat box. And so as we play, you'll see this as I step through, but as we step through this, units will move over to the results column over here, whether it's victory, a draw, or defeat. And that's what will determine the total outcome of the battle and what happens to the Army of the North over there. So let's jump in and start with the first part of this battle. So the monarchy has 5 to our 4. So let's see how we do here. We rolled a 5, we rolled a 5, so that's 5 plus 4 is a 9, and they rolled 3, so it's 5 plus 3 is 8, so we won. But we didn't win by 2, we only won by 1, so we don't get to put anything into the victory. I think it goes into tied or draw. Let's see, for each event, where do we go? Down here. So all other outcomes move it to the draw box. Yeah, so this is going to be a draw. So we're going to move this unit to draw. And we continue on. So now we come down to the second part of the battle, which is the other flank. Same thing, I'm going to roll 2d6. And we'll add in the, that's a really good roll. So we rolled a 5, plus 3 is 8. 2 plus 2 is 4. So we did way better than 2. We did 4 better than that. So we get to move this unit now to the victory box. So that's a victory because we did better. We did 2 or higher. And then we go up to the third part of the battle. So now these musket and pike units are battling it out. And they have 8, we have 5. We have the King's Lifeguards we're going against here. So, oh my goodness, I'm getting really lucky here. We rolled a 5. So that is 10. They rolled a 1, so it's 9. So I'll take that. That's a draw. I didn't expect that, actually. Thought we're going to get clobbered there. So we continue on. And for the fourth part of this battle, it is 4 versus 4. Remember, we have the -2 from the battle card event that we had to draw. So it's whoever rolls highest on the d6s wins. And we... we win again. They rolled a 1 again. That is amazing because we won by 2 or more again. These units will go into the victory box. And I'll just put that strength marker back. Now, before we look at the results of this, I should mention I totally forgot that I could have paid a zeal point to add +1 to any of those. So where I had this -2 on this part, the musket and pike units that were here, I could have brought that back up by 1 if I'd spent a zeal point. I wouldn't have done it, I don't think, anyway, because it really wasn't that. This was a tie, so zeal points are hard to come by, so I don't think I would have done it anyway. But keep that in mind that you can do that in this step. All right, so now step 6. After all sections are resolved, check the outcomes box. The box with most of your units determines the outcome for the battle. And if there's 2 boxes tied, it would be a draw. So if you had your victory and your defeat boxes tied, it would still be a draw. Here we have 3 in the draw, and we have 3 in the victory. Unfortunately, it's not a victory because it's 3 and 3, so it defaults to a draw. And then you look at what does it say for a draw. If the majority of units are here, or it's a tie and it's here, then it says if it's a tie and it's here, you are not in God's favor, and the outcome is a draw. The affected army unit status is unchanged, so nothing happens to the Army of the North. They don't lose any strength or anything. And I lose a zeal point. So zeal goes down to 4, and that's the result of the battle. And we'll just leave the dice in there for now, and then you just take your markers and put them back into their cups. So this is the Parliamentarians Cup. Oh, and I think I just put the cavalry unit in there. Those will stay out because you will have to shuffle those around and pull them out again. There's the other one. So we'll put those back into the cavalry pool. These go back into the draw cup so we can randomly draw them again. Cavalry for the monarchy. And these go back into the musket and pike. All right. That is how tactical battles work. And like I said, that's the first thing you do when you draw the card and you see you've got the 2 units in red. The very first thing you do. Second thing we do is, remember, we go from top to bottom, left to right. So there are 2. There's the Army of the, let's see, here it is. Army of the West times 2. Well, what that means is the Army of the West will take 2 actions. Ouch. Let's go back to our player's aid card here, to the actions. And so we're looking at, for the army, and it's the actions that the army can take. So you look at in order again. So can they, let's see, it's the Army of the West. So can they recover from disorder? No. Combat a clubman? No. Besiege parliamentary force? No. So they advance on the map. So they move from area 5 down to area 4. So that's their first action. They get 1 more because the card says times 2. Again, you go through this again. No recover from disorder, no combat a clubman revolt, but they are in area 4 and it's Bristol. No, Bristol's in 3. They can advance again. So they're going to simply advance down to Bristol, 3. They move twice, and that's what the card said to do. All right. And then we go now again to, we continue down the card. So now unrest in London. Again, this happened last turn over here. This is the second time there's been unrest in London. London, please, I'm trying to play a game here. And so again, this is really going to be unfortunate for me, I got a feeling. The way this works is they conduct 2 sieges against London. They've got to roll higher than a 2 to succeed, which on a d6 is not hard to do. Since it's on a 2, they can't go down to 0, as we saw, and I'll lose a Zil point. So let's see what happens. Yep, they succeed. They rolled a 5. Can't go down to 0, so the Zil's points go down to 3. And then here we go again. They get to do it again. 1. So they actually failed on that one. So I don't lose another Zil point. That was good. All right, marching right along. So that was, the top part is done now. We go down to the second part of the card, the middle part of the card, religious reaction. Religious reaction, and I'm going to bring out the official player aid card because it tells us on here, political reaction for religious or political markers move towards C. And so C, move towards C, we'll go to the rule book. It's right here. All this is in here, like I said, very good rule book. Little busy with the colors and highlights and stuff, but it's a very good rule book. Religious reaction. During religious reaction, examine the Puritanism and Catholicism markers. If that marker is an A or B grade, then apply a drop to it. If the marker is in D or F, apply a rise to it. If it is in box C, there's no effect. So I think basically here, we're looking to move towards C. And I believe it's for both of these markers. Catholicism is in box C, so no effect there. And Puritanism is an F. It is actually going to go towards C, so it's actually going to rise 1 into D. And that is it. So that's what happens there. That was good for us because it brought Puritanism back up a little bit. And then finally on this card, at the bottom card, the bottom section, so top, middle, bottom, it's Parliament drops by 1. Parliament is currently in D. Well, let's see, is it in D? It is in, what is it in here? I guess it's in D. So it's going to stay in D, but it's going to drop by 1 to 2. So it's just going to drop 1. And that's it. That's all that's on the card. So we have played all that's on the card. Looking at the sequence of play, we did our events phase. We now go into the action phase. And this is where I will spend my measly 3 Zil points that I have remaining. So I'm going to pull out my player's aid summary sheet. And again, to remind myself here, and I think this is actually probably on this card too, where it tells you what you can spend your, yeah. Could also use this. It's also got a list of your player actions on here as well. So what do I want to do? Infuse zeal. Purchase an available achievement. We can't do that because we have none out. Campaign against one of these armies. I might want to do that because we still have the Army of the West down here, which is threatening Bristol. And we also have Scotland, which is in area 4, which is threatening Edinburgh. So I may want to do that. Or engage in politics. Could also declare desperate times, but I'm not going to do that. Because my political markers are low enough as it is, and I forgot to remove the special marker from the Army of the North. All right, what do I want to do here? I want more zeal points, but I am going to try to push back the Army of the West. So I'm going to spend a zeal point and try to move back the Army of the West. So it's a 4, strength 4. I've got to roll a 4 or higher, and I'm not going to try to pay to add a strength point to that. So I roll a 2. That's not good. No effect there. I am going to try it again. No, actually, this time I'm going to go after the Army of Scotland. I'm going to pay a zeal point, and I'm going to try to go after the Army of Scotland. I got to get higher than a 3, and I do. I get a 5, so that pushes them back to 5, the Highlands. All right, I've got one more zeal point. I could try down here again. I got to roll a 5 or a 6 to move the Army of the West. But also spend it to try to push one of my political markers up higher. I think I'm going to spend it to try to push Puritanism up. So I'm going to roll. I've got to get a higher than a 3 to push. That's going to spend my final zeal point. I got to roll higher than a 3. And I roll 5 again. So that does push it up to the next higher box on the board, the tracking board. So that was good. I'm at a zeal points. So that ends the action phase for me. Then we go to the end times phase. London has not fallen, and I don't have a bunch of Fs. So it's just basically, end times phase, victory check. Housekeeping, remove all temporary strength markers. I don't think we have any. And gain zeal. So again, I have London. So there's 3, and then I have Hull and Bristol, which is being threatened. So that's going to give me 2 more. And that's it. Let me go right into the next card. So let's do that. And like I said, once you and then I see a tactical battle again. But I was going to say, what you can see once you understand the rules, the game really flows fast and smooth. So first thing is we have a tactical battle. So let's do that. I'll put the card here. Again, back to the tactical battle sequence here, and it's written very well. Which army do we want to battle against? I'm going to say we're going to go for the Army of the West this time since they're moving towards London. So let's just mark them with that. And that will be affected. I have no named units, and now we draw the random units that will appear. So let's do the musket and pike first. So here's the first one. That looks good. And the second one is a 4. That's not so good. The next one is another 4. And the next one, oh my gosh, is a 5. And then we'll go ahead and draw their cavalry units. And this one is a 4, and then this one is a 2. All right, and then let's draw the parliamentary forces, starting with the musket and pike units first. And 2 again. We're going to get another event. I think it's in the exact same spot the last one was. And I didn't like the battle event card. I hope we get a better one this time. 3. Another 3. That middle part down there is not horrible, I guess. It's not really the middle part yet, though, is it? And then another event card. Oh, that's it. So now we do the same thing over here. We draw our 2 cavalry units, and we hope for high numbers here. That one is a 4. That's good. And this one is a 3. All right, we have drawn all of our units. So now we have 2 events. So we have to draw 2 event cards. So the first event card. And it is a red title event card. So resolve immediately. And let's go ahead and pull. Well, we don't need to pull the second one. We got, well, actually we do, I think. Or do we? Let's make sure we do this right. Draw 1 for each event. Draw 1 card. All right, let's go ahead and draw it because it says we have a black titled card and a red title card. So the red one's got to be resolved first. Okay, so resolve immediately. Add 2 plus 2 to the combat value of the weakest royalist cavalry unit. So this is the same thing as last time, except instead of subtracting 2 from the monarchy units, they're adding 2. So we're going to grab a plus 2 strength, and it goes to the weakest cavalry unit. So that's going to go down here. Bringing that one up to a 4. That's not good. So that's that card, and then high ground. Retain this card. This is the green title card, actually. I'm looking up top, and that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about this title just below that. This is just the flavor text. So this was a red title card. This is a green title card where it says retain this card. During step 4 of the battle sequence, play this card to rearrange your 4 parliamentary musket and pike units as you desire. What exactly does that mean? During step 4 of the battle sequence. Yes, this is before we, I see. So before we begin the battle, basically, I can rearrange my 4 units any way I choose. So I like that. I think I like that. Well, not really, because I got two 2s and 2 3s. It's not going to do a heck of a lot of good here, although I can certainly try to make one of these sides more manageable. So here it's 9 versus 5, so that's bad. And here it's 5 versus 5. So I could try to give myself an advantage up here. I could swap the 2 and the 3, kind of write this off. Because otherwise, yeah, let's do that. Let's take the 2 and swap it out with this 3. All right. That wasn't that useful, but there you go. So we did our event cards, and now we resolve the battle in order. Starting with the first, it's 4 versus 4. So it's whoever rolls the highest on these dice. I roll. So we rolled a 4 and they roll a 1 again. I'm beginning to think that D6 for the monarchy is loaded because it keeps coming up as 1s. We won by 2 or more. So our cavalry unit goes to the victory box. That's good. So now we go to the second phase of this. It is going to be 4 to 3. So they get that plus 2 from the event card. And we rolled a 5, so it's 10, and they rolled a 2, so it is 6. So we won again. Is that right? No, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself here. It's 3, it's 8. So it's 5 plus 3 because we're in the cavalry, not in the 4th. So it's 8 to their 6. Well, we still won by 2. Yeah, 2, 4, 6. So this unit will go to victory. We got lucky again there, I think. Did I do that right? 3. So it was, yeah, that's right. I'm questioning, when I start doing good, I start to question myself because I never do that good. That was really good. And now we go to the third phase, and it is 5 against 6. And they rolled a 1 again. Oh my gosh, I'm really suspecting that something might be wrong with the monarchy red D6. For us, that is what did I say? We're up here at 6, so it is 12 to their 6. Yeah, we definitely won that. So these 2 units come up to the victory box. All right, we will take that. I'm glad this is all on camera. You can see I'm not. If I told this story at a bar, no one would believe me. So this final battle down here, the 4th part of the battle. Well, finally, the monarchy rolls a 5, so that's good for them. So they get 14 to our 8. So we lose this. This is defeat. So these 2 units come into the defeat box. But it's not going to matter because That's the end of the battle, and we have more units in the victory box. A rare, rare outcome indeed. All right, now we apply the results of the battle so that we look up in the victory box and read what it says. If the majority of units are here, you are victorious. The affected army unit is disordered, and you gain 1 benefit point for each unit here after the third. What is a benefit point, you ask? Well, see, the little arrow points to the benefit chart. So we have 1 benefit point we can spend because we have 1 more unit than 3. And so the only thing we can get from that benefit point is to gain 1 ZIL point. If we'd had 2, we could adjust the political track or fortress marker. We had also 2, we could also use that to take a strength point off of the army of the West. Or if we had 3, we could take 2 strength points off the army of the West. North or West, in this case, it says. Okay, so the only thing we can do is gain a ZIL point, but we'll take it. We actually have 6 ZIL points now. It's the first time that's happened. Let's see. We also forgot to disorder the army of the West, so let's do that now. We'll remove our battle marker here. They're still in Bristol, but they're disordered, so they can't do anything to that fort until they come out of disordered. And I believe that is it. Yeah, okay, so that is it. So let's take our 2 cavalry units. We'll put those back up into the draw pool. We'll put theirs back up into the draw pool. Remove the strength markers, and then we will put our musket and pike units back into our draw cup, and theirs back into their draw cup. Well, I was hoping that we would get to see tactical battles, and we've witnessed 2 in a row here, so I guess that's good. So continuing on the top part of the card, we did the tactical battle. Now, the army of Ireland gets to do something, gets to take an action. And so they're over here too. They're disordered. They now can come out of disorder, basically, is what this means. Recover from disorder. Yeah, so that just means they get to flip. So they go from disordered to ordered now. And then the army of the north is also on this card, so it gets to take an action. It does not need to come out of disorder, so it's just going to march down to Chester. That is the top part of the card. Middle section, Puritanism is going to get a +1 modifier added to it for this turn. So which is good if I want to try to boost Puritanism up again, which I might want to do that. And we come down to the bottom part of the card where our first deviltry marker comes out. And unrest in London again. What is going on here? It's just 3 times in a row. Man, something bad is going on in London. So the deviltry marker first, and we will just, now these, it's the same way here. You're going to pull a random one, and kind of hard to put these in a cup because you don't want to see what's under them. And usually there's something good under these. So if I can resolve one of these, maybe something good for me underneath. And so I'm just going to pull one. This one looks good. And it doesn't matter where these go on the map. It does tell you in the book that, and let me get the actual rule book out. This is where the historical flavor comes in. So it says place a deviltry marker randomly from the pool. We don't know what's under that written underneath there. Like I said, I'll pull one I haven't pulled yet so you can see. There are positive things under here that can help us. I don't know what's under that one. But it says this little gray box tells you if you want to see where these things occurred historically based on the Invitkar narrative, you place it on the corresponding numbered location on the map. In this case, the deviltry unit is on card number 24. That says Nottingham. So we're going to place this in Nottingham. Where is Nottingham? This is right here. Here's Nottingham. So it's this district. So the deviltry marker is going to go into Nottingham. Now, why is that bad? The deviltry markers, all they do is add a red triangle to the board. And if you remember, red triangles count as a -1 from our victory points. So at some point, we want to deal with that. And that's all it does. It doesn't stop the armies, doesn't interfere with the armies at all. It's just another -1 to me, victory point-wise. So we put out our deviltry marker and now unrest in London again. I got a feeling my extra zeal point is about to get taken away from me. So they've got to roll a higher than a 2. So here's the first one. They do it twice because it's a siege. They do. So there goes my zeal marker back down to 5. And then they roll again. And a 6. So we lose another zeal point. And that is it for the card. We have completed all the steps. Let's see. Get this on camera. All the steps are complete. Goes back into the discard pile. All right. So spend zeal points. Now, I've only got 4. So I got to be careful here. This is starting to bug me. I think I may want to try to reinforce London because it seems like I'm getting unrest in London every time. Then again, maybe I don't want to do anything because I mean, how many more unrest in London cards could be in the deck? But you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to spend a zeal point and try to improve London because it's just driving me nuts. So let's see. We got to get higher than. No, wait. I don't have to roll for this. I'm getting confused. It's only when the monarchy does something that you roll. I just spend a zeal point and then I crank it up. So we're going to move that up one. Could try to push Puritanism up another notch. I could also try to push the Army of the West back, and I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to spend a zeal point, try to push back the Army of the West. I got to roll higher than a 3 to do it. And I rolled the monarchy die, which rolled a 1. So I'm going to say that was a failure. What else do I want to do? I could try to increase Puritanism. I'm going to try that again. I'm going to spend a zeal point and try to push back the Army of the West. And I roll a 1 on that one. There's another failure. Yikes, I've got 1 zeal point left. I am going to spend this final zeal point to crank up whole 2, 3. And so that is it for my actions. So then we go back into, check for victory. I still have London. No Fs yet. And now we remove all of the modifiers. So that's the +1 up here. And that's it. Deviltry stays out until it's dealt with. And now we go into the next turn. So let's draw another card. And so we can see right off there's not a tactical battle, which is good. But we have, the first thing that happens is we add a +1 strength to the Army of the North. +1 strength to the Army of the North. And that's a force to be reckoned with up there right now. So that was that. And then we move over to Scotland ×2. So the Scottish army moves twice. It is not disordered, so it simply moves down to Edinburgh. And it moves again, which means it sieges the fort. It's got to get a higher than a 3 to do anything to that fort. So we roll for the monarchy and see what happens here. First roll is a 2, so that is nothing. And again, so remember you roll twice for sieging forts. And it's a 3, so no, he had to do better than a 3, so nothing happens. That's good. All right. So that was Scotland. And then there's some text under here. It says besiege or fortify Bristol twice. Bristol. This is, Bristol's down here. This is not good for us because it's ours, so it gets sieged twice. I think that's how that works. Okay, yeah, after a quick consultation with the rules, that definitely means we get, Bristol gets besieged twice. Twice, not once. Let's do that. Okay, so they've got to roll higher than a 3. So here's 1. That's a 4, so that's successful. And they roll again. That's 3, and that's higher than 2, so that's successful. And remember, that's only 1 siege. Each siege is 2 rolls of the d6, so they get to do it twice. Here's the other one. That's a 1. That's a no event, no effect. Another one is a 1 again. So, second siege failed. And then going back up to the middle part of the card. Now this says you may conduct public witch trials for the following effect. So when a card says you may do something, it means just that. I can choose to, in this case, conduct the witch trials. If I decide to do it, Puritanism will go up 1 and Parliament will come down 1. So it would be nice to get Puritanism to go up 1, but if Parliament comes down, that's putting us awfully close to F. So again, I may choose to do this. If I choose not to do it, then nothing happens. So I'm going to choose not to conduct the witch trials because I don't want Parliament coming down at all. And then we go on to the bottom part of the card. It's Ireland drops 1. So Ireland's going to come down 1. And that is it for the event card. And while I was checking that rule, I realized that I had not, in fact, given myself the zeal points from last time. So I've got those back up to 5 where they should be. So now we enter the action phase where I can take some actions and figure out what I want to do. So I think the first thing I want to do, let's try to push this disordered Army of the West back. So I need to roll higher than a 3 to do that. So let's see. I spend a zeal point. I roll a 4, so that's good. I push him back to Devon, so he's in area 4. That was good. I'm going to spend, I'm not doing anything here for sure. I'm going to spend another zeal point to increase my fort in Bristol. I'm going to, let's try to take out that deviltry marker. So I've got to get higher than a 2 to get rid of the deviltry marker. So let's see. I get a 2. All right. Not good. Let's do it again. I'm going to try to take out the deviltry marker. A 5. So I do take out that deviltry marker. So like I said, we'll remove it from the map, and there's an event on the back or an effect that I will get. And let's see what it says. -1 strength to the Army of the West next turn. So that's going to be a -1 strength to the Army of the West, which is already disordered next turn. So I'm going to put these on the map. We'll just put them here to remind me that's next turn. So that's good. That's good news for us. And another zeal point. I'm going to spend another zeal point to increase London by 1. 1 more zeal point to spend. I'm going to try to raise Parliament back up 1. So that'll spend the final zeal point. Let's see what happens here. Looking for higher than a 3. 5. Excellent. So that's going to put Parliament up 1. That will do it for the action. And now we go into victory check again. I still hold London. I don't have all Fs, or 4 Fs, I should say. So we're not worried about that. And then we remove all of the die roll modifiers and strength markers. So this comes off of the Army of the North. That stays till next turn because of the deviltry marker. And of course, we refresh our zeal. 3 for London, 2 for Hull and Bristol, takes us back up to 5. And that's it. That ends the turn. And I'm going to stop it here because I've gone on longer than I had wanted to. You did get to see quite a bit. You saw tactical battles. We saw deviltry marker come on the board and leave the board. And I haven't seen any achievement cards yet, but that's something that we will have to look for if we continue this game. I am going to stop it here. I do want to get Midway Solitaire Deluxe to the table. And like I said earlier, I can keep playing this one. It's easy enough to set back up. I'll leave the cards as they are. I'll just set those aside somewhere. I can set this board back up from the camera. I've done it before. I make mistakes. So it's not hard to do. I will definitely continue. If you guys want to see me continue on this game, I will definitely come back to it. And once I get past the midway stuff. I don't know how long the midway stuff will take. That it turns out that's a pretty long game, longer than I thought it would be. So it could go on for a while. But again, it depends on if I play a full game of that or not. All right. Well, as always, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you do, please consider liking and subscribing. And if you really want to support the channel, the Patreon page is up and all that information is in the link down below. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you back here next time.